What's going on, everybody? This is your girl, Chantel Shink.
And this is Crystal Levette.
And you're listening to Conversations at the Compound.
Let's go. We are back again.
Tag team back again. We're so excited for another episode of our podcast. We've been talking about a little bit of everything, but we're mainly talking about relationships for the last few podcasts. So we want to continue on with maybe this one and maybe one more episode where we're dealing with relationships. It just can't be exhausted.
Yeah, it's a lot to say about relationships. We could probably do a whole season on relationships. But for now, we're doing a series. And today, we're going to talk about something that I think is probably going to be a bit controversial. People are not really going to want to hear some of the things that at least I have to say about the topic. But we're talking relationships again today. And today, we're going to talk about dating. And having standards versus wanting perfection.
That's a good topic because I feel like a lot of the times having a standard is, let me rephrase that. Then when people have high standards, people look at them as if they're wanting perfection.
And I'm just going to throw this in there, particularly when it comes to money standards with a man. To me, it seems like the world automatically sees a woman as a gold digger. Yeah. And that's something we can come back around to. But just when you said that, I thought, that specific standard tends to get a really hard rap. But we're going to talk about standards versus perfection. I think sometimes people, a man can meet a woman and be like, girl, why you single, blah, blah, blah. And then when she's like, I got standards, then it turns around and being something like, oh, you just looking for somebody.
Extra.
Yeah, you extra. You looking for somebody that doesn't even exist. So we want to shine a light on this.
Yeah.
We want to rip the Band-Aid off, peel this banana back, and see what's really popping.
Well, one of the first things I think is we need to talk about deal breakers. And the reason why I say that is because I've heard where people say, you need to have deal breakers. You need to know what you will and won't deal with, and let's define deal breakers.
And we're talking about in a dating scenario. This is before I even get in a relationship with you. Early stages, what is going to cut you off completely? Like, we're not even going out no more type of
right. Or you're not even going out no more. Or no, you can't have my number. Or no, I will never go out with you.
Well, I'm gonna say one is probably gonna be if you're homeless.
Well, that's interesting because I actually saw a story where a woman ended up marrying a homeless man.
No way.
Yeah.
Are you serious?
Yes, seriously. That she met him at the park. She would bring him food, and she ended up marrying him.
No way. I do not.
Yeah.
Is she mentally ill?
No. But she. Listen. What?
I'm speechless.
Yeah.
Was it a romantic story to you?
I mean, I wouldn't say romantic. That's not that. It was interesting and it was hard to believe.
Okay. I want to say this about deal breakers. I think that when we're talking about deal breakers, I think it's safe to say that really that's just another way of saying these are your standards. Mm-hmm. Things that you will or will not accept, things that you want, deal breakers. Like, if this is happening, this relationship's not happening.
Right.
This is happening, this date is not happening.
Right.
So I think any woman who has self-respect should have standards.
And any man, correct.
Because
I think we need to, it's not just, us women having standards. I think it should be
across the board.
Anybody that's dealing with another human being and is going to have any type of relationship where they're letting them into their personal space, in their family space, being with them, spending time and energy on them, investing in them,
spending money.
There should be some type of standard that you have for yourself.
And really, I feel like we've been in this relationship series and we've talked about different things, but I feel like this is a common thread within every episode that we've had, because in essence, again, we're talking about drawing lines and setting boundaries, because standards create those lines and standards
That's true.
Set those boundaries. So in all relationships, all forms, a standard is necessary. We said in a friendship relationship, you just can't treat me and talk to me any kind of way. We don't call each other out each other's name, even in joking, like in a friendship. That's a personal standard. Like my friends, we don't do that. You know what I mean?
You know, and then that's good. And you said something I thought is good. You talked about a personal standard, and it is very personal because when you think about it, and nobody is the same. Everybody has different lives and different ways that they grew up, different experiences. Nobody is exactly the same. So what might work for you might not work for me.
Right.
And, you know, we can't, I mean, that's another thing to a topic of, can you judge somebody based upon their own personal standards? And can you say, you know, your standard is low because you accept ... or you have no self-respect because you accept ... You know, so
I think so.
Okay.
I think in life you got to let people live, right? So I think that if someone chooses to have standards, that's on them. If they choose not to, that's on them. But I think the existence of them or the absence of them is a reflection of how they view themselves and how they value themselves. I do believe that.
There's a certain thing called high standards too, which means that you can have standards, but they could be low.
Men get mad at those, boy. They get mad at those. They want to call you high maintenance. They want to call you all these other things.
Right. Well,
let's talk about some deal breakers.
Okay. So I want to ask you. I'm going to ask you.
Why are we not asking you?
Because I want to ask you. Because I thought of the question. So let me ask you the questions as it relates to icebreakers. And like we said before, we're talking about, you know, in a dating relationship and in whether or not you would even accept a date from someone that has these different things going on in their lives.
Okay, well, so disclaimer, I'm keeping it 100. So go ahead.
All right, so also I'm asking you guys who are listening too, you know, would these things be deal breakers?
Yeah, ask yourself. Some of y'all have already dealt with these, and you can you're gonna listen to this like, girl, I already did that. Girl, I should have said no, I said yes. Or some of y'all men were like, you know, I just overlooked it.
Yeah.
You know, I wasn't tripping on it, and then you realize whether or not those were the best decisions to make. So, and definitely hit us up, write in. Let us know what you think. If you have some deal breakers we didn't mention, we'd love to hear from you in your comments for sure. But anyways, go ahead. What you got?
All right. Would you go on a date with a man if he lived with his parents?
How old is this man, first of all?
Between 20 and up.
20 and up, and he lives with his parents. Okay, so I think for me, again, this is just for me, I can't say no right off the bat. I feel like there are other details that I would have to explore. Mm-hmm. Number one, if he has a job, and if he has financial stability. Because some people just choose to save their money.
Right. They have a plan.
They have a plan. They just want to save their money. Mom and dad ain't asking them for nothing. Right. They got peace at home. They don't have a full-blown family, so I don't have to live by myself. Yeah. So I cannot say that is a 100% a deal breaker. I would have to know the details behind it. I need to know if he can afford to have his own place. Mm-hmm. Are you there by choice, or are you there because circumstances have put you there? And then I need to understand your choice for being a grown man and live with your parents. Okay. Because most men are independent. So you have to be, because you're gonna lead a family, have a wife, whatever. So I would need to understand that situation, and then I would have to go from there. I can't say 100% no, but I'm gonna say 80% no.
Okay, so it's not a deal breaker.
I'm sorry, 80% it is a deal breaker. But I can't say 100% that is a deal breaker, because there's a story behind each situation.
All right, if he didn't have a car. Let's say we'll do 20 and up.
If he doesn't have a car, unless we live in New York, that's a deal breaker for me.
Okay, if he's a mama's boy, meaning like...
That's a deal breaker.
Okay. It's a deal breaker?
No, whatever you mean, it's a deal breaker. I don't want any man that's sitting up under his mama. Okay. That's just going to be problems for me in the future.
He has children.
That's a tricky one. Someone that I love dearly, that I know, told me, encouraged me as a single woman to not deal with a man with children if you don't have to, because you're taking on extra drama.
Yeah, a baby mama.
You're taking on a baby mama. You're taking on children. You instant mom, stepmom. All those things. So
that's another person. It's something you can't just ignore that's somebody that you have to process within the relationship.
Yeah, I mean,
because it could be somebody that has older children.
I was just gonna say, I think if they have older children, 18 or older, then it's not a deal breaker. But little kids, baby mama drama, gotta split them up one weekend, next weekend. I'm gonna pass on that. I pass.
Me too. Okay, this is a good one. If he has children and is not paying child support, or he's not taking care of them,
that's a deal breaker for me.
Yeah, because it's a deal breaker for me too.
Nah, forget that.
But you know what's interesting, that I know of many women, a lot of women that are okay with dating a man even though he is not taking care of his children.
You know what I think it is? I think it's women who are with men that they know got kids, and they recognize that they're not with their children, but they don't want to, they don't want they don't want to know the details.
That's what I'm saying.
Like, I don't think she's asking him if he's paying his child support, but clearly he never got his kids. Like, you know what I'm saying? You kind of know, but I think they maybe not asking that question.
And will they really tell you? Will a man really say, nah, actually,
I think things like that are character flaws, and I'm not. No, you're not taking care of your kids.
And maturity. Like,
get that out of here.
That's your own blood. So you acting like that about your own kids. How are you gonna treat me? Really?
Right. I pass.
Okay. If you found out that he's not with his baby mama, but he lives with her. I know some cases of that actually too, where I have.
What is that?
I have a baby mama, but we broke up. We not together, but we staying together for the kids.
What is that? What woman will take on a man that's living like that?
We staying together for the kids.
Well, then y'all be together with the kids without me. No, thank you. That's crazy. And I got a lot of questions for the woman that would date that man. Like, I don't understand it. I really don't. I really, really don't.
Yeah.
Why do you need a man that's living with another woman and his children? Like, what do you need that in your life for?
Love, man. They
people don't know what love is, but go ahead.
Okay. All right. What if you found out that he went to jail for a felony charge, like drugs or robbery or battery or rape or something like that? That should be a no-brainer.
100% deal breakers.
These deal breakers that I'm asking about, they should be no-brainers.
But you know what? We're talking about them because they're not. They're not.
Because I'm not that any of these. These are deal breakers for me, but we can come up with these questions because it's obviously not deal breakers for other women, other people.
I want to say this though. I think that sometimes people misinterpret having a standard in these deal breakers, because I don't judge you for whatever happened.
Right.
I don't judge you for going to jail.
Right.
I don't even know the whole story. You might not. You might really be innocent. You know what I mean? You might have done the crime. You paid your time.
Right.
You're good. You're rehabilitated. Mm-hmm. All those things. And kudos to those men out there in the world who have made mistakes and have been able to rise from that and get back into the world and function. That's great. You know what I mean? I got nothing but love for all my brothers and sisters that's been in jail, out of jail, still in jail. Like, we praying for y'all. We love y'all, right? Mm-hmm. But I feel like when it comes to me and my life, love, relationships, my space, my world, that's just not something I want to process.
Right.
Because you have to also understand that there are hurdles in life that will come with being with someone like that.
Exactly.
Now, some women don't mind that, but I don't want to necessarily be with someone who has to fight to get work in this world, who feels like they're constantly trying to prove themselves in this world. Side note, bunny trail disclaimer, if you black, you already deal with that.
Right.
Like, that's just real talk. If I want a black man, I already got to deal with that.
That's true.
And now you talk about him having something on his record in the system. Black, white, yellow, doesn't matter. Orange, purple, green, it doesn't matter. That just is an extra hurdle, extra, weight in life that you have to process. And me, my life, my love relationships, my situation, no thank you.
Well, I would, the only reason I would date a man that's been to jail is if it was like Martin Luther King.
Would
that be a deal breaker for somebody like Martin Luther King or the guy from the Black Panthers?
I might be like, you doing too much.
A person that went, sitting at for something of substance, standing up to the system, that type of thing.
I don't even think those type of men exist anymore. To be honest, I don't even think they exist anymore.
I'm sure that they do, but
people
it's
in
just
that
in a
generation,
different way.
they're not fighting for stuff like we used to, and that's a whole nother episode. But like for me, no thank you. Deal breaker. Keep on walking.
Keep on walking. If he asks you for gas money or to help him pay his phone bill.
How long have I known him?
1, 2, 3, 4 days.
Nah,
1, 2, 3, 4, 5 days.
No man I'm dealing with is gonna be asking me for money. Period. Point break, hands down. Ain't happened. He would never. He got too much self-respect. He got too much pride. He got too much dignity. That's just not happening. And if you're a man and you can sit there and you can ask a woman and ask me for money, you're not the one for me.
But some women don't mind. Some women do not mind. Some women, if they listen, baby, I got you. If you need anything, I got you because I love you and I believe in you. That's a form. Isn't that a form of support? Isn't that a form of ride or die? And that support, that's.
I'm old school in a lot of ways in my thinking, and I feel like there's a place. I feel like women have a place and men have a place. And having a place doesn't mean one is superior or inferior. It just means there's a place for everyone. And I feel like a man, I look at a man as a provider. God is my provider,
right.
But a man, I feel like, should be the one passing out the money, not asking me for money.
Right.
That's just how I feel about it.
Listen, it might get some flack for it, but I totally 100% agree with you.
What kind of man asks his woman for money? Like, it's different if I offer,
right,
babe. I don't know. I feel like, let me hear.
It's even the thing of going out on a date and it being Dutch. Like
I don't believe in that.
Yeah,
I don't believe in that.
Even as a 2020,
I don't.
A new millennial woman. Some because this is the thing. Some guys, it's their honor to take care of the bill, take care of everything.
That's the type of man I'm talking about.
And then there's some guys, and then this is what I feel like too. I feel like, because I even know people, and I know men who, they're on their come up and they're working their way there, but they're not there yet. But if they were there, that wouldn't be a problem.
Right.
You know what I mean? So there are, the thing is, people don't wake up with money trees and having all the money that they need to do everything. It's a process in most cases, and so you have good quality men that are building their kingdom, and that they're stacking their chips, they're making their money, they're getting that solidified and locked in. So is that fair to say, so until you get to your place, then you're just not going to be able to date? It's about the woman. Let me finish. What I was going to say is I guess it is a matter of where you are. It gives you access to a certain type of woman, or certain women. Not even a type. It's because there's a certain woman that believes, yeah, I got you, you got me, next time you don't have to pay that's not a big deal to them. But then there's a certain woman that will say, as a man, it's your, I want the man to take care of the bill. I mean, that's how I was raised. But everybody doesn't feel that way, and every man is not at that stage in their life.
Then you shouldn't be dating. If you can't.
So you're really saying that if a man is not able to cover your meal and a day,
you're darn skippy. If you don't got the money to cover that woman's bill, why you ask her out? If you don't have the money, to pay for a steak or some lobster tail, why you gonna take her out? You need to sit your hips at home and be alone till you get some money. Like, that's crazy.
Or you can date the women. Or you can date the women that don't mind that.
Okay,
go ahead.
I'm just not that woman. I mean, because I think about it. Right, I'm a woman, and I want to flip it on a man's perspective. Mm-hmm. And I think about my brothers. They have daughters, and I can't fathom them as fathers being okay with their daughters being with a man who can't take care of them. Like, you know what I'm saying? So I think, to me, it's about the bigger picture here. A man who does not have it to cover a meal, how can he be a provider and take care of you the way that I believe a man should? And this is the thing. I believe in a woman making her own money. Don't get that twisted. But I'm saying the man should be capable. He should be in a position. That's just how I feel. That's what I believe. The woman that accepts that, then you accept that. And you understand going into this thing, you don't have nothing. Because I have friends, and I have friends who see things different ways. I have one friend who, she came from money. Her family has money. Money's not a big issue to her, right? So in her quest for finding someone, we've had this conversation multiple times. Money is not a big deal to her. She does not care if he has money. And by that, I mean it's financially stable, financially whatever. She's just looking for how he's going to treat her, how he's going to make her feel. You know what I'm saying, right? That's fine. But that's all great, but life does happen. And so you get involved in this man who you loved him for just his face and whatever else he brought to the table, but financially he wasn't really sound. And you get into that, well, make sure you know and you realize that life is going to happen. And when life happens, he don't got no money to give. He ain't got nothing to put on it. If you okay with that, if you're okay with getting into life and taking on bills and taking on, you know, responsibilities without his help or without him being able to do anything, and you're okay, then you're okay. But me personally, I can't rock with that. No man, I don't feel like a man should be asking a woman for a dime.
I believe that. I agree with that. I mean, I agree with that. And I think, I mean, it's just, I just think that culture has taught us something that's totally different. And I think that it's not the best way. Now, I'm not saying right or wrong, but I'm just saying it's not the best way.
And I feel like women need to just know, like, that they deserve the best. And I feel like sometimes men and women, because like I said, I got brothers, I got cousins, I got uncles, and I love all of them. And I want to see them be treated properly, right? Well, you know what I'm saying? And I want to see them in flourishing relationships. So to me, it goes on both sides. I don't look at it from just a female perspective, but like the men in my life, I don't want them having drama. I don't want my brothers dealing with women that's got baby daddy drama. Like, you know what I mean? I don't want them in situations where they're being disrespected. Like, to me, in a dating situation, whatever you yell at me, you call me out my name, I'm done with you. Like, I'm not going to be spoken to any type of way. So I'm just saying, I think that everybody deserves love. I think that everybody deserves to be treated well. And I believe that we're walking this earth as kings and queens. How does a queen get treated? How do you treat a king?
Because guess what? If you raise your voice at me, if you call me a queen out of her name, if you hit or try to raise your hand and put hands on the queen, guess what? It's off with
your head.
Off with your head.
Don't play.
This is what this conversation piece is about. I really just want us all, everybody, to just rethink your value.
Yes, it's good.
Like, just think about, because just because it's popular and just because it's acceptable in our culture and in today's world where you accept going Dutch, or you accept another thing like a woman allowing a man to open up the door for you. Like my brothers have said plenty of times that girls get mad, I got it when they try to open up the door for them. And it's like, I don't think that allowing a man to be a man in a relationship means that you're weak.
Independence.
I don't think it doesn't. That by you allowing a man to pay for your meal, or to open the door for you, or to do whatever he does as a man, by you allowing him to do that, that doesn't mean that you're weak and that you're not capable on your own.
Right.
But I really think it's about respecting the dynamics and what each party brings to the table. Because on the flip side of that, okay, you want a man to pay for your meal anytime we go out, friend or romantic, whatever, right? So that's fine. But guess what? As a man is sight. It's about what he sees and what he likes beauty. So at the same time, people might think it sounds weird, but I feel like at the same time, if women have that expectation, then as a woman, you should also respect the expectation of men,
100%.
which is to be beautiful, to be eye candy.
100%.
I mean, you know, like it's everybody has something that they want to get from that. But and I mean, that's on one spectrum of it. But then at the highest level, it's a man is a man,
right?
And as a man, he wants to take care of business,
right?
And as a man, if he has it, he's paying for it,
right?
If he has it, you know. But we respect the come up. I respect the come up,
right?
You know, so it's not. I'm not saying like, well, if he can got money, then oh well, then he whack. I'm not saying that, but I'm just saying everybody has a right to say, you know what, I'm not at the place in my life now where I'm willing to accept a person at this level. If you're on the come up level, then you should probably date somebody else.
Right. And
I don't think there's anything wrong with that.
Right.
I don't think anybody's being a gold digger by having that standard. I just think we all have our own personal standard.
Is that no different from a man looking at a woman and she's overweight and be like, look, I mean, I ain't mad at you if you're overweight, but I just prefer somebody that's got their eating habits under control. It's the same difference, but a woman got to be a gold digger because she wants his money to be under control.
Right. And there's nothing wrong with the man saying that he'd rather not date a woman of a particular size. Right. He might even say, you just too skinny for me. Like, I'm not really feeling a toothpick.
I mean, these are preferences.
Yes.
These are deal breakers. These are standards. And I really don't believe there's anything wrong with them. I think that the preference is fine, but I think a certain standards, drawing certain lines for certain things that you just don't want in your relationship situation, I believe that's healthy. It's just like, would you date somebody with a restraining order against them?
Right. Okay. Me personally, no. I would not.
What if he gets upset in an argument and punches a wall? He didn't punch you. He just punched the wall.
Me personally, no. It would be over.
You know why? You know what I think?
It would be over for me. I'm not.
You know what I think they love Chantel? Because they do love Chantel. You know what I think? I think that these deal breakers create lines because these scenarios are, I don't know if flags are the right word, but they kind of speak of what the relationship was going to be if I allow this in my life.
And the character of the individual that you're with. Because to me, I'm not mad that you have children.
Right.
But to me, if you have children and you're not taking care of them, then that, to me, that speaks so much. It speaks volumes about who you are as a man.
Right. And what the situation could be with us.
Right. That's true.
You're not even taking care of your kids. Like, I mean,
if a guy shakes you, like, you know, there's been scenarios where guys, you know, you an argument and things get heated or whatever. People yelling at the top of their lungs. He doesn't hit you, but he grabs you by both your shoulders and shakes you.
Okay, let me just say something. I don't know necessarily this is to a man's defense, but I will say this. Because I'm a woman, right? And we're speaking from a women's perspective because that's all I can speak on. I'm not a man. I've never been a man, and I don't plan on turning into one. I'm a woman. But I do think, like, if you expect something out of someone, I feel like you have a responsibility on your end to be a certain way.
Right.
And by that I mean, for me, yes, shaking me is a straight up deal. Touching me is all a deal breaker, right? But on the same note, you can't be that woman that's running your mouth. Like you can't be talking to a man any kind of way. You can't be all up in his face, in his space. You know, some women want to mush him in the face, hit him in the forehead with the two fingers, the one finger. Like, I'm just saying, like, this is a give and take situation. This is a 50-50. This is two people deciding to be two certain types of people. So you want to get mad because he shook you, but you was all in his face cussing him out. Like, you know what I mean? Right. So by that I'm saying,
every action there is a reaction.
Right. So by that I'm saying, yes, for me it's a deal breaker that you're gonna shake me, right? But I'm not the type of woman to ever do something to take you to that level.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean? Like, it's not. So then if he shake me in a situation with me, then you really something's off with you because I would never. I don't go like that with a man. I don't argue with men. I don't go toe to toe like that with men, right? But I'm just saying, as on behalf of the men, like, straight up, like, women, y'all need to learn how to talk to these men. You need to learn how to treat a good man. You need to learn how to respect the man. You need to learn how to keep your mouth shut. You need to learn how to just walk out the room. You need to learn how to keep your hands off your man. Like, you know what I'm saying?
Don't talk to him like
you don't get a free pass to do whatever because you're a woman and he's a man.
Well, I agree with that 100%.
And then they be the same ones. Let me just say this: that want to get the boy locked up.
Yep, for sure.
You dealing with all this stuff, and she the same one's gonna call the police on you.
Yep.
Like, that's not cool either.
You know, and the truth is that so when you have these relationships where yelling, arguing, screaming, people shaking, you putting your hands on the
So
woman, you shaking her, or all of that drama. That is in essence a dysfunctional relationship.
110%.
That's dysfunctional. That should not be happening. No. And that should not be occurring on a regular basis.
No, man.
And if it is, and you are in that and you don't see the dysfunction, then there's a problem there.
Because in the same sentence, right, there's nothing a woman should be able to do for a man to put his hands on her.
Right.
Period. There's just nothing. If you are cussing him out, if you are in his face, he need to learn how to walk away and walk to the other room. But to put his hands on you, invade your personal space, and to shake you, that is off. That is not normal. That is not okay. Period. I don't condone any kind of physical, violence, and nothing when it comes to relationship. You need to just leave. And
then sometimes at the end of the day, too, we all are human beings, and a person can only take so much.
Walk away, though. I don't care.
I'm saying, in defense, like what you said, as far as the men are concerned, it's the same thing with men. Like, it's you running your mouth, talking.
You can only take so much.
A guy or on each side is only going to take so much before it hits the fan. I'm not saying it's got to be physical,
right?
But I'm saying it's going to become more and more intense.
But guess what though? That is why we're having this relationship series.
Yeah.
Because we're talking about standards. We're talking about drawing lines. We're talking about being healthy, not being unhealthy. Because the truth is, if you had had some standards, you probably would have seen the signs ahead of time before getting into this relationship. But you just shrugged it off when he raised his voice at you that one time when y'all was out and y'all had a little too much to drink, or you know what I mean?
Right.
So we're talking about loving yourself enough to not accept certain things in your life. We're talking about loving yourself enough to make sure you have a certain environment within your relationships, friendship, work, love, all of it. And then also being able to be preventative, to be able to meet somebody on both ends, male and female, to be able to meet somebody and after conversation with them, after a couple of dates with them, being able to recognize and see what type of person that you're dealing with. There's some crazy people and some narcissistic people that know how to hide it. Right.
But I'm saying for the most part, there's, the certain things. And I feel like the average person feels like you doing too much. They'll look at me and say, you doing too much. Why? It ain't no big deal. Everybody get mad sometimes. Everybody raises their voice sometimes. But for me and for my standard and for the atmosphere and the environment of the relationships I want to create in my life is I don't want to be with anybody that yells at me to the top of their lungs.
Right.
Period. That's just it. And guess what? It's my life.
Right.
And I have that right to say what I will live and won't live with. Right. Just like you have that right. But let me say this too. Those standards, that it shrinks the pool too. Certain right. Let me say it would be easier for a man to find a woman who has children at a certain age. Let's say over 30 or 35 or something like that. Most likely one of the parties, a man or a woman, would most likely have a child, right? At that age. So if you are a man or you're a woman saying, I don't want to date or be with anybody that has children, then you shrink your pool.
Right.
Do you understand what I'm saying? So if you're a woman that's saying, I will only date a man that is at the level in his life where he can foot the bill every time, then you cut off a certain group of people. Yeah. So I think, yes, have your standards, but recognize and know that within those decision makings that you cut yourself, the pool shrinks. But there are certain standards that are, I think, very practical standards, but then I think there are some things that are character-based standards.
Right.
So within the I feel like with the practical the practical, then you have
that's flexible.
You have room, but with the character standards, I don't think that there's any room there.
There should be zero.
There should be zero flexibility.
Like if you dating and you catch him in a lie, So you lying? You lying? That's what we doing now? You lying?
I mean, honestly, it's I don't want to. It's difficult. It could be difficult.
I don't think it's difficult.
I'm telling you that the reason why we're having this discussion is because it's difficult for women to walk away from scenarios where they're we can talk so much because it's stuff that leads up to this.
Right.
It's one of the other things is that you give a person access so early into the relationship without really even knowing who they are or their character. So you get involved and locked into someone and to being with someone before you fully truly know who they are.
Yeah.
So then when you finally see who they are, you realize they don't have character or they don't meet your standards in a lot of stuff. It's harder to let go of it because you've already given so much of yourself to it. So it's important. It's so important to put in that time to allow yourself to find out who you're really dealing with.
I agree. 100%.
I mean,
and I just feel like
it's a. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off, but I was just saying this is a endless cycle.
It is
a downward spiral, a cycle that goes downward to hell, to hellish relationships.
Yeah.
It goes from I love you, you're the best thing that ever happened to me, to I hate you,
right.
to I don't know, I wish I regret the day I ever met you. Do you know what I'm saying? Yeah. That doesn't happen just by osmosis. That happens because people get into things without fully taking time to investigate who you with.
Yes.
So, it's nothing wrong with having a standard. Actually, a standard is powerful. A standard is a safety net.
Right.
A standard is a form of protection. A standard is a form of loving yourself and loving your life.
Right. And I think that a lot of people don't love themselves. Unfortunately, and sometimes people don't love themselves enough to make the right choices or to make necessary adjustments. Look, I want to see everybody win. I want people to win. All of our listeners, I want you to win. I want you to win in your relationships. I want you to win in your finances, in your business, with your dreams, with your vision, with your family. I want everybody to win. Yeah. But Lauren said it the best. How you gonna win when you ain't right within? Because when you're not right within, you don't process what's happening out in the world properly. When you're not right within, you're not processing relationships properly, people properly. You're not seeing things clearly. So take a moment and look at your relationships. Yes. I think we've said this in multiple episodes throughout this series. Look at your relationships. Look at your standards. Ask yourself, do I have standards? Do I even have deal breakers? Have I been just open to whatever comes my way? Really reassess.
If he says that I'm pretty, I love him, that's my boo. Okay,
Right. Or if he buys dinner one time. You know what I mean? Or gentlemen, she cause she arm candy or whatever. Just take a minute, because it's far too many people in unhappy situations. And you want to be happy. You want to enjoy your life. You want peace in your life. I want everybody to have peace. I want you to have joy. I want you to get the best that life has to offer. We are talking relationships. Yes. We have so many different kind of conversations at the compound, and there's so many different, aspects and thoughts towards this. I love having these conversations, and relationships can just not be exhausted. And they go so deep. It's just so much to it. It's so intertwined and it's so delicate. Matters of the heart are so delicate, but you need to have some standards. Yeah. Have some deal breakers, man. Have some things where you just say, you know what, I'm gonna have to sit this one out.
And don't be scared to say off with his head.
Right.
Or off with her head.
Right.
Because you are a queen. You are a king. I stand by that, and I want to keep saying that to everyone. You're special. You're valued. Your life means something. You mean something. And you have to see yourself that way. It's hard because it's a lot of things fighting against it, and maybe you yourself feel that you're nothing, you're not worth it, but you are.
You are.
And if you feel that way, you know, we'll talk about it in another episode of how you can build that self-respect and that self-love so that you're able to rebuild who you are on the inside so that you won't accept anything and everything from the outside.
Look, y'all, this is good stuff, and I'm excited about the next episodes to come.
Yeah.
This is Conversations at the Compound. This is what we do.
Yeah.
We love y'all. Stay happy, stay peaceful.
Think about your life.
Think about your life and your relationships. And we will see you next time.
Feet on the pine, what's good with the sizzle? It's been so wrong, how'd it go so long? You are the point, soul ties full grown. I am the chosen, war with the spawn. And every day it rains, it pours on my corn.